Hello. So just when you think you've got every variant, every subset, or whatever you might have for the Nintendo 64 all figured out for collecting purposes, well, guess what? They're going to throw another one at you. So, to go along with this, I just found out recently about yet another subset that exists under, or existed under the Japanese region, and that is the Taiwan only subset. So, anyways, it's a very small subset. At this point, I can only confirm 5 Taiwan-only variants. And apparently it was done exclusively for whatever reason for licensing and distribution purposes. But anyways, so this guy stands out because it's got this orange box here and it says for Taiwan only. I know it's probably hard to see that with the camera. And then, of course, it has the same thing in Chinese here. In addition to that, on the bottom line here, it ends with ROC, which stands for Republic of China, which is Taiwan's official name. And then in the back, you have the back label in Chinese, and then the serial, once again, confirming ROC, or Republic of China. So, once again, I can confirm only 5 variants for Taiwan only. And I'll go ahead and list those off now. Obviously, Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time, Diddy Kong Racing, Super Mario 64. Now, Super Mario 64 has 2 variants. It has a variant for the English language, and it has a variant for the Japanese language. And you can tell them apart based on the cover art, because the English language is going to look similar to the US or European cover art. The label art there, or the Japanese version is going to look very similar to the original Japanese release of Super Mario 64's label art. In addition to that, I can confirm Pilot Wings does have a Japanese language Taiwan-only variant. So Taiwan was interesting because they actually had both English language and Japanese language under their unique variants. So, as far as the best way I found thus far to tell them apart is to double check and see which version of the cover art you've got on the label. If it matches or is similar to the US or European cover art, it's probably going to be the English language. So yes, this Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time is 100% in English. And as I understand it, they actually used the version 1.0 ROM that they used on the North American carts for this guy. So yeah, if you pop it in, play it, you're going to have no language barrier issues for those of us who live in the U.S. or North America. That you're not going to have any language barrier issues. No worries, it's 100% in English. So this guy's in English, Super Mario 64, if you pick up the English variant, of course. And then Diddy Kong Racing is also in English. I haven't seen any Japanese language versions for Legend of Zelda or Diddy Kong Racing. I'm not saying they don't exist. It's possible, and we just don't know about them. But, as I said, if you just follow and adhere to the cover art there, the label art matching up to, the main label art for the U.S. or Europe, you're probably going to get the English language. So, anyway, as far as how rare these guys are, what I've found is that the retro market in Taiwan isn't very big. It's not a super popular thing like it is here in the U.S. and Canada. And so, there's not a lot of availability for these guys. I'm not saying that there aren't a lot of them in Taiwan. I'm just saying from what I understand, they're not super easy to find in Taiwan as far as being able to purchase for sale. And of course, if they're not super easy to find in Taiwan, you can imagine what it's like trying to find one in the rest of the world. So it's literally, no joke, it's literally a random luck of the draw of just finding one of these things on eBay. I found this guy at a super reasonable price. I'll be 100% honest. Shipping and tax, I paid $38 for this guy, which, when I posted it out there, people told me basically that was a steal, because you're not going to see this guy come up very often. From what I can gather is that this is arguably, other other than the not for resale, this is going to be one of the rarest variants you're going to find for Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. Even the gold collector's edition is going to be way more common, way more easier to find than this guy is. The only other listing I saw for this guy was a complete inbox that ran for where the seller was asking $700. So as I said, it's literally luck of the draw with finding these things. But given the fact that, if you're like me and you're basically all you're going to do is collect the English variants, I've only got to worry about finding 2 more of these, and then I'm done. So anyway, the Taiwan only variants are really cool, and as I said, no major issues with them. Like the Japanese carts, the only issue you're going to run into with these guys is, of course, the regional tabs, the physical lockout that Nintendo put on them, which, if you've done any research, like the Japanese carts, super easy to bypass. All you have to do is to either swap the back with a dirt cheap US sports game, and it'll fit in and play fine on a stock US console. Or if you want to be like me and preserve the original, Taiwan only back label, what you can do is just do a quick little cartridge tray mod on your console, and then they'll just fit as is. So all you have to do is to remove those 2 little, steps or bumps in the back of the cartridge tray, and you can either do that by removing it, like a Dremel tool or drill even, after pulling the tray out, or you can do it the easy and clean way, which is just to order for $5-6 a 3D printed tray that's region free, and just swap it out with the stock one, which is basically what everybody's going to now. I've even gone to that myself just because it's not worth it for how cheap it is to pick up a 3D region-free tray for the N64. You can find them on eBay, Etsy, wherever. So anyway, these guys, as I said, definitely obscure, rare, not super easy to find, and it was produced exclusively for a market that's not terribly large. I think at the time, if I remember correctly, between the U.S. and Canada, the population at near the end of the N64 production run would have been in the neighborhood of about 250 million people. Taiwan in that time, where this, for this market, was less than 23 million people at that time. So, and if you can imagine that only about 5 to 10% of the people there even bought an N64, which is about average for the rest of the world, that's not a whole lot of potential N64s or Taiwan-only variants being sold in that market. So anyways, I would strongly recommend that, if you're looking for something cool or unique, that stands out, something other than just, the guys who, thump their chests about buying Clay Fighter Sculptor's Cut or Worms Armageddon or what have you, and you want to find something that's really unique for about the same amount of money or a lot less, depending on, what you're able to find it for, I would look into the Taiwan-only subset. And as I said, as long as you make sure that you, focus on the English versions, you won't have any language barrier issues. And anyways, that's all I've got, and thanks for watching.